if you're familiar with the way that groups work in PowerPoint, then understanding how they work in Inkscape isn't going to be too difficult because the concept is exactly the same. So if, for example, you have downloaded a collection of vector graphics, for example, here I have this collection of these little Chinese zodiac characters, you might very often open them up in Inkscape, and then, for example, say I want to start editing this cow character. I click on it, but all I get is this box around the whole set of characters. And if I try and move only the cow, it's going to move them all. So what I need to be able to do is to get inside this group to the things that are within it. Now there's two options. You can actually just remove this group altogether. So I could select this object, and we can actually see that it's a group of 16 objects. And I could then just go Object and say Ungroup. But there's an easier way to work. What you can actually do is just right click anywhere on this group, and at the very bottom of this list that comes up, you see two options here. Enter Group All and go to Parent. Now I've called this group All because it contains all of the characters. And if I now click Enter Group All, I can then click back, and this time when I click, I'm actually clicking the individual animals. So that's because I have entered the group inside which each one of these animal characters was contained. And if I now right click on any selected object, I can either enter the group Snake or go to Parent. If I now enter the group Snake, now when I click, you see I just get individual elements of the snake. And for example, if I was to just click and drag, bear in mind that all of this is happening with your Select and Transform tool, you can see that there are a lot of objects that make the snake up. And that's why it's a lot easier to have them in one group, because if I now want to move this snake somewhere else or resize it or take it into a new file, I don't have to worry about trying to drag over it and select all of these objects every time. Now at this point, I have entered the snake group, and so if I want to just select the snake itself, that's not going to work. Whenever I click on the snake, it's only going to select one particular part of the snake. And so the way to go from one group into the parent group is to right click the selected object and then just say go to parent. Now if I click off the snake and click back on it, I'm now focusing on the group for the snake as a whole, because this group was the parent of all of the objects that were contained inside it. So just to show you again, I can select any one of these objects. If I say go to parent, click off and click back, we get this box around all of these objects. And if I now right click on an individual animal, you can see I can either enter the group All or once again go to parent. So by entering the group, I can now click on any one of these animals. I could copy and paste this into a new file and then open it up in GIMP at any size that I want. I could resize it, I could change the colors. You can do any of the normal things that you can do with objects in Inkscape or GIMP. So that's an extremely useful thing to know, especially when you are going to be downloading a lot of these sets. A lot of the really great free vector sites give you things in these really big sets, which is absolutely amazing because you can get an entire massive set of, for example, sea animals. And so if that's the theme of your lesson, you just need to keep them in one file and then you can take them out whenever you need them. In the next exercise, we're going to see how you can actually group and ungroup objects and give them names that are going to make it a lot easier to work with groups.